Denmark is a delightful little town 50 kilometres west of Albany and the last of the Bibbulmun tract towns walking south. First explored in 1829, the region was named by Scottish naval surgeon Dr. Thomas Braywood Wilson for his colleague, fellow surgeon Alexander Denmark. Like most towns in the southwest, the town grew as a result of the timber industry, reaching its peak in the early 1900s before the local forest became uneconomical. In an attempt to rebrand the town, Denmark was revitalised after World War I with the group settlement scheme, bringing large-scale assisted immigration to the area in order to develop a dairy industry. Unfortunately, this scheme collapsed, and again in the 1930s the population of Denmark declined. Following World War II, the town once again remade itself, this time catering for tourism and vineyards, and it is this version of Denmark that we see and enjoy today. Of all the towns boasting a connection to the track, Denmark does it best, and that mainly due to one business, the Blue Wren. At its core, a backpacker hostel, the owner, Mark, makes a point of welcoming Bibbulmun hikers and, crucially, assisting them with their journey around the Wilson Inlet. The inlet, the third of four, has a sandbar at its mouth, but, due to private property and ecological issues, should not be crossed by hikers. Instead, they must reach the Nullakai Peninsula either by crossing the river by boat or going around the inlet. Boat services are at best unreliable, so the only real way forward is to circle the inlet, a 25-kilometre journey along busy roads, and this is where Mark comes in. For a reasonable fee, he will drive residents of the Blue Wren around the inlet, dropping them off at one of two convenient locations in order for them to continue their hike.
Well, this is Denmark. I've been to Denmark dozens of times before. I love the place. It's gorgeous, it's quaint, it's cute. It's just a typical country town. It's now nearly 7 o'clock in the morning, out of bed nice and early, and I'm at the Denmark Bakery, famed for its pies. It's got awards coming out the wazoo here, and quite frankly, well deserved. Today we cross our third inlet, but we do it by car. Mark from the Blue Wren has agreed to take me as a guest in his establishment last night, which was excellent, and he's also agreed to take Maddie, which is a big favour to her, so thank you to Mark. I'm stocking up on some breakfast now, some toasted sandwiches and a milkshake. I will take a roll to go, which will be my tea tonight, so it's still something fresh tonight. I have restocked in the local IGA. I've done my laundry at the Blue Wren, and I've showered. So I've done everything I can to prepare myself for the last 4 days of this journey. The one thing I haven't done is sign into the book. I will have to do that next Friday when I return here, having left a small package of goods that I won't be needing between here and Albany, which includes a tent, some clothing, a book I finished, one of the batteries for the CPAP, all of which I won't need, so I'm going to lose about 4 kilograms of weight today. Today's journey takes us from here to the Nullakai Peninsula, where Mark drops us off. We walk to the Nullakai campsite, which we will sign in, and then double hut through to West Cape Howe. Total walking distance today is approximately 21k. Weather at the moment is overcast but not raining, and by the look at the weather forecast on the news last night, because I got to see some TV last night, looks like it's going to be like that for the next 4 days, so it could well be that I finish this dry.
It was strange to be in a car again. After a month of travelling at walking speed, Mark's perfectly normal, sedate driving seemed to be done at terrifying speed. The drive took about half an hour, and at the end, Maddie and I were dropped off to continue our hike to the next shelter. We reached Nullakai's shelter soon after, but it was only ever destined to be a short stop. I duly filled in the logbook and, not wanting to crowd Maddie's day, left her to hunt orchids and fill in the camp journal with her distinctive pink pen that had become somewhat iconic as I travelled south after leaving Collie so long ago.
Well, that's Nullakai done. I am on the Nullakai Peninsula. It's a strange feeling. In my head I'm comparing it to the day I landed in New York City. It's something you look forward to for a long time, and when you actually get there it's a magical moment. The Nullakai Peninsula is quite literally the home straight into the run home to Albany, and I'm here. I'm now walking on to West Cape Howe campsite. It's 17 k's away. After that we have 3 more huts and we reach Albany. All over. It's a strange feeling. I've left Maddie back at Nullakai. She's doing one of the famous pink entries and will no doubt follow me very shortly.
While most of my walk was done alone, I was always conscious that there were other walkers nearby. Little was there to know that on some occasions I was being actively observed, this time by Maddie, who by now had apparently noticed that I'm not very tall.
I can just see a tiny Rob disappearing into the distance. Where is he? There he is. He's so far away.
Well, I'm still climbing the sand dunes coming out of Nullakai, and I've nearly reached the top, and from here we get a damn good view of what's happened in the last couple of days. That's the Wilson Inlet over there, with Denmark nestling over on the left hand side. Behind that you can see Mount Halliwell that we climbed yesterday. Today's car ride has brought us all around the inlet to the right, then back into the Nullakai Peninsula, bang opposite Denmark, where we again restart our walk. That's the view from the Nullakai Peninsula inland. And then just a couple of k's further on we get over the ridge of the Nullakai Peninsula, and then we start looking south, and we're back to looking at the Southern Ocean again, which will be our companion for all of the way into Albany from now on. Just taking a break here for a minute, and as usual with Maddie, you hear her long before you see her, because she walks all the way along the track singing her heart out, and I can hear her in the background. Any minute now she's going to pop her head up through the gorse. Okay, at long last I feel like a bib walker. I have a snake in front of me barring my path. Oh, he's moving off now. Just as I got the camera out, he moves off. I've had snakes scuttle away from me pretty quick and dash across the path in front of me, but this is the first time I've had a snake on the path who seemed reluctant to move. Unfortunately, he has now moved.
While my snake encounters had so far been somewhat tame, Maddie, walking within a couple of kilometres of me, seemed to have had far better serpentine relationships.
Oh, hello! Good morning, Mr. Snakey! Okay, so I'm also trying to go down the path, but Mr. Snakey got here first, so... Oh dee-dums! Oh, I scared him! Bye-bye, baby!
Said it before and I'll say it again, I love these. And we've got another snake across the track. I think it's a dugite. It's got that dark green colouring. It's only half there at the minute, just his tail half on the track. I don't think he's a particularly big one, but right now he's refusing to move. Don't know if you'll see him very well. Another very small one, nothing dramatic. But at least I'm getting to see some of them.
Oh, for fuck's sake! Ah, okay. Mr. Snake, I'm coming. Just move. Jesus. Look, I don't want to walk around you. You don't want me to walk around you. Just go in the bloody bush. Go on. Okay, I'm gonna... Me and my friend that I don't actually really want right now. Hello! Okay, I think I'm gonna wiggle around him. Make a big thump. Thump, 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 thump. Thump, 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 thump. Thump, 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 thump. Oh, thank Christ. Oh my God. He's not even bothered. He's not even a little bit bothered. I'm scared out of my wits and he doesn't care. He's just looking at me like, heh, heh, heh.
Oh, that's always a welcome sign. A symbol for the hut. Somewhere down here. Here we go. West Cape Howe today. Maddie is obviously behind me. She'll join me later tonight. I don't know that anybody else will be coming from the north. It's a case of whether anybody's come from the south to join us. Let's have a quick look in the loo, see what the supplies are like. No toilet roll. Distinct lack of toilet roll in the last half dozen huts. Before that it was actually quite plentiful. Now let's go and have a look at this shelter and see what we've got to accommodate us tonight. Pretty standard hut we've come to love and respect. I will grab my traditional spot over in that corner. What's caught my eye on the way down is this little bench up here. They always provide us benches to sit on, to eat at. Usually they like to put them where there's a decent view. And I have to say, based on the walk in, that this one has got to be one of the best. As I sit here, having just got to West Cape Howe campsite on the final run into Albany with a bare 3 more huts to go, it strikes me that I really should do a little bit of reflection on the journey that I've done, and I'm going to try and do just a little talk in each of the huts about the experience and how it's gone. My first one here today is going to be a bunch of thank yous. The most important thank you, of course, must go to my family. They have supported me in this endeavour. Jill especially, with her endless travelling around, placing boxes and on the odd occasion coming to my rescue, putting up with the planning, the talking, and all the rest of the crap that went with it. Thank you. Robin, Reese, Lee, Zoe, and of course the 2 grandkids. They've had to be without me for 6 weeks. Not that that's much of a miss, I should think, but they have supported me in this, and Robin on occasions have had to come to my rescue as well. So thank you to her. Lee for his rescue when I got sick halfway between Collie and Stukinelli. He was sick that day too, and he had better things to do than travel 2.5 hours out of his way to come and get me, so thank you to that. A special thank you to Viv and John for their support in this journey. The t-shirts that you may or may not have seen me wear with Rob Walks the Bibbulmun Track on it, they were a gift from Viv, and quite frankly I love them, and so does everybody on the track. They're quite a novelty, so thank you for those. Second thank you must go to the crew at work. When you run a small family business, although nobody is indispensable, everybody plays a role. And with me skipping out on what is now a total of over 6 weeks, the rest of the crew have had to step up and take up the slack that I've left behind. So again, to Jill, to Lee, to Lauren, Adrian and Sue, thank you. Thank you for covering where I should have been. A third and final thank you today must go to the Bibbulmun Foundation. This track is well over 1,000 kilometers long. There are, I believe, 48 huts on the way down, most of which I've shown you, all of which are built and maintained by the Bibbulmun Trust and an army of volunteers. It is completely and utterly free to use. There is no charge whatsoever for me to camp over at these campsites, use the toilets, use the water and sleep in the hut. Without those volunteers and without the Bibbulmun Foundation, this wouldn't exist, and I sincerely thank each and every one of them for their hard work in enabling this track to exist.
Returning to the shelter to set up camp, I found that I had been invaded by the army. A group of 8 mainly army personnel on a team building exercise had arrived at the camp, and with Maddie to arrive later still, that made for 10 in the shelter for that night. By far the most I had encountered since Helena 12 months ago. Join me again next time for the penultimate video in the series as I get closer still to the end, tackle the last inlet crossing and leave you all with a request.